Hello,
Hi,
Kimberley.
how are you?
Good. I'm trying to survive until my spring vacation, which is in 2 weeks. Yeah, life of a teacher. Tell me about it.
Well, I have to prepare, you know, for spring break also.
Yeah, but
Having no school at all.
yeah, no school to help for the kid, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to use my time to recharge and try
Good.
to finish the school year strong.
Exactly.
Oh, well, thank you, Kimberly, for coming, try to find a schedule time after the holidays for coming on to the Cat Shack podcast to talk about many different things.
Yeah, you're so welcome. It was so great to see you at Christmas Con and
Definitely,
I remember
definitely. I was
saying I
really in
will do this.
awe.
What's that?
I thought I was really in awe, like with all of the movies that came on and how Hallmark was kind of like changing up their formula with coming up with the sequels in some movies, and some movies have a three like trilogy. Or I was really impressed how Hallmark turned it around for the last, I want to say, maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a interesting time. You know, I think we'll see a little bit more of that, but I think we'll also see more of the traditional Hallmark sort of style movies as well. Because I think they may be feeling, you're always trying to find sort of the middle balance and staying relevant and current, but also providing a traditional model that people have, really grown accustomed to and love. So I think we'll see this year especially uh, a lot of both. So
Yeah. Okay, I want to go back a little bit, talk about the two movies, The Three White Men and a Baby, and The Three White Men and a Boy. I mean, those two movies apparently were like, I would say the blockbuster hit of Christmas in 2022 and last year, 2024. I had the pleasure of having Paul Campbell on the podcast last year to talk about his writing, his journey from the first movie to the sequel. I was like, we have to know what happened at the end of the movie. He was like, I know, but Kimberly found back at the drawing board for how many times, I don't know, but we were able to finally make it work. So I really like the concept of both movies. And after watching the preview or the trailer, I was like, I'm not trying to figure out, it's the mom. The bullies are going to be protective of the mom. Find someone. It was just perfect. It was a wonderful movie.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I think in the end, the cut of it got a little messy because it went so long. And so some things really kind of got a jarring cut to them, which, when you're writing these things or you're creating these things and you sort of see the end, I may be the only one or our creative group might be the only one that notices that, but there were just some, especially with um Andrew's storyline. He got cut up a little bit, but overall, I thought it was a touching movie. There was, I thought the boys were extra funny this time around. I think they found like a real groove. I know they were really funny in the first, but I laughed out loud a number of times. Also, watching it for the first time on the cruise with a live audience was an experience I
Goodness.
had never had before. So, it was so great to hear firsthand what landed, what didn't, and to
Yeah.
watch it with people who love the series. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
had that experience back at Robert Chicago with the live screening, and it was just beyond amazing. And Paul Campbell and Tyler Hines, they were like parts, and I'm like, okay, this is what happened. And they were just like literally walking through with some of the scenes and the behind the scenes and how they made it work. So again, I'm glad you had that opportunity for yourself with the second movie on the Hallmark cruise. I had a few friends, so I was living through vicariously. So I was like, oh, that's so much fun. Wow. So I'm sure it was a big hit on the cruise. Had you said you were seeing it for the first time. And
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think doing more of those kinds of things with the audience is what my hope for 2025 would be, where we can sit down and watch these things together and feel these things together and experience them. And it's certainly left an impact on me knowing the impact it had. So, sometimes you feel like you do these things in a vacuum and you don't get the live theater response. But I think watching them and, having more intimate sort of panel like discussions where we can stop and pause and, you know, is such a gift to do. And I hope we get to do more of it. Organize one.
yeah, maybe I set up one if you have another movie coming out in the summer or the fall or another Christmas movie.
Yeah.
We'll do a live screening on the Cat Chat podcast.
Yeah. What grade do you teach?
Oh, I teach high school. Before I am a Depahonia period teacher, I taught all grade levels. I mean, I started from a daycare, then I worked over at the school for the deaf in the South, and I was like all over the place, and then moved back home. Then I worked at the elementary school for about a year and 3 months before I was pushed out to the high school. So I've been teaching high school ever since pre-COVID.
And do you like it? Do you like that age group?
I like high school much better than the
Yeah.
younger ones because you have to do everything. High school, like, that's your responsibility. That's your grade. I graduated. So you're in the middle of high school. So get your act up.
Yeah. Oh, you'd be a great high school teacher.
Yeah, I have a daughter who's in ninth grade, and I have a son who's in seventh grade. That looking at the younger age, and hmm. I'm gonna go for the undercan high school, maybe later, a couple of years, I'll move on to college and teach college, but I'm not going back. I've had enough experience with the younger kids.
Yeah. My kids are in grade 2 and 4. So I'm that's sort of this like delicious age where they're still little and cuddly, but independent also. So, um, yeah, fingers crossed for having two girls in, you know, high school. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but
But if you ever need tips, just let me know. I'll try my best to give you tips how to raise
yeah,
a high school
I will.
daughter.
I'll be asking you all the questions. What do I do?
Or back to the three white men and a baby and the three white men and a boy. Flip flop the title. I really liked how you like slipped in like a quote, like from the first movie where the brothers had like a freak out when Thomas was teething, going to the hospital, and it was like, here you go, oh, he's just teething, he's fine, he's healthy. And they were like, okay. And then you started quote, you catch it right these things. So I was like, okay, that was a very like slick going into the script because literally you wrote the movie along with Paul Campbell and another writer for the sequel. So I thought that was very like, what did you just say? How did she be able to put it in there? That was really creative.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, at first, Dr. McLaren, the part, the cameo that I do, everyone was kind of, they wanted me to be in it more, especially for the second. They wanted to find a way, to have that happen. Um, Even in the first, some like some other role, but the story comes first for me, and I couldn't justify being in there anymore. The story wasn't about
Right.
me, and it's not about my character. And then I sort of landed on a tongue-in-cheek kind of cameo, like a true cameo where you're winking at the audience. They know why you're there. um, they're waiting for if you are going to show up. And when you do, it better be a pretty fun wink. So uh, we went back and forth with that. And yeah, I think we landed I mean, you can't write this stuff. And then I think the second one was tough to follow up a
Yeah.
hit with another
It's hard to
hit.
follow up with a hit with another hit, you know what I mean? Almost impossible. But really, tell me about it. But you did it. Like I did with Paul Campbell earlier, and like, okay, where are we gonna go with it? How are we gonna make it work? Because after the Burnt movie, a group of my girlfriends, the Hainline and the Hallmark band, were like, it's like a movie could be a Waddy, Luke and Dopey. I was like, I don't know, or Taylor or what. So like the mom, the slowly at the end, different proposed. And then now we're at the third movie, randomly coming up with the names. Three whited man and a Waddy or something. So who knows?
Yeah, we weren't quite ready for a wedding in the second one, but who knows what
Right.
happens in the future.
Who knows? Yeah, right. Come on, you can't just leave it, like, no, okay. Look up your third one, or like, I don't know, the other, but they're like, what if, Well, we'll be surprised when that happens.
Yeah, you
Um,
will.
okay, we're gonna take a pause before we continue with other movies. I want to know what is your vision of writing a script alone or with a partner? How do you start an idea? What is the process of writing a full Hallmark or a generic movie script?
Mm. Um, I think you write what, well, for me anyway, I write what I'm a fan of. And I'm a really big fan of 90s rom-coms, style movies. I grew up on these. I can't count how many times I've seen Pretty Woman or As Good as It Gets or all of these really classic
It's a
style.
very good movie. I enjoyed that movie a lot.
Yeah. You know, Father of the Bride, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, all of these things that,
Right.
it wasn't even just I wanted to escape. It was just I love this style of movie. I love watching people fall in love. And so I think I just have a wealth of like stories that go around in my brain. And when I sit down to kind of put it to paper, I'll just organize it in a way of what the romance is, who these people are, and often what the character, their struggle. And I always try to like go from one of my other favorite movies in the style that I kind of like to write or that I'm a big fan of is Silver Linings Playbook, where there's a lot of dark comedy, but comedy like we laugh because we're laughing at ourselves and that human quality to the characters that we can all relate to. And I think if you ask how I organize it, it's like I start there to telling a piece of myself in each of these characters and you find love along the way. Um, and that, I don't know, that hopefully that makes sense, but that's just kind of what is the struggle? And I go from there and I put a lot of obstacles in the way to kind of move through that struggle or not, which I loved about a movie like Silver Linings, where you have a group of, you have two people who have no business being part of that professional dance competition at the end of the movie, like whatsoever. And we don't know as an audience, like what the dance that they've been working on all movie is going to accumulate to, but it's horrible. But there's a beauty of the courage that they tried, and the process was more important than the outcome. And yeah, it's like the Little Miss Sunshine kind of movie where you've got a group of losers just trying to be winners. And we really don't care by the end of it if they win. We just care about the journey. We just care about these characters so much. They're very character driven style movies, which is I think what you can see as mine and Paul's signature on particular style. We have a style of writing and it's very character heavy, more than it even is plot heavy. We
Yeah,
like to say we like to say you could watch our characters sort of up against a brick wall. It doesn't really matter where they are. It's the thing they're fighting for and the characters that we have created in them and just watching them spin on that it should be fun enough. And then you add all the rest of it, but we're kind of loving the dialogue between these people and their characters come to life. So does that make
that's
any sense at all?
yeah, definitely. Because everybody, I mean, really, movie writers or producers or directors all have a different philosophy or different vision or different way of how they start. Okay, we're gonna do this, or we're gonna start here. Like I was just curious because I know you and Paul have like a similar writing style. You should pick on something you want to focus on this first, and then like break it apart. Okay, we're gonna go this way. Oh no, that didn't work. We're gonna go this way. Which brings up another one of my other favorite movies from you and Paul called Christmas by Starlight.
That
That
was our
is
very first
really
one.
yeah, yeah, that I should literally I have to watch it maybe one or two times every Christmas. I'm like, okay, that new movie have to wait. I need to watch it because I should really like how they portrayed your character and Paul's character. It gave I don't want to say Beauty and the Beast vibe, but it was just like a Grinch and someone like trying to save her parents' restaurant. And it was just a beautiful script and a beautiful story. And of course, at the end, it comes live because that's a typical Hallmark formula. So I wanted to understand your process between you and Paul Campbell with writing the script, how to make this movie come to life, and happen to be one of the best Christmas movies on Hallmark.
Yeah. I mean, we come up with a a, a story, a kind of a basis of wouldn't it be fun if, right? And then we go, is there a movie here? And there's so many concepts for different movies, but the challenge, I think, of a good movie is the middle, acts 3 to 7, where what happens then? So you have this idea, but what happens? Because you can have a really strong beginning and you go, oh, I see where this is going. And then it kind of, if it falls out, you're just sort of bored and it feels like we're going through the thing. And so we really focus on the therefore. This happens, therefore these other things take place. And the therefore, I think, is really important to comedy and to also the movie. Um, because it's what makes you want to watch, and it's what makes you root for these people to the end, and not turn it off. But uh, yeah, I think therefore this happens, and then this happens, therefore this happens. There's always like a new level in which they, get into trouble. I like to call it, how can I best, so we know what these two characters are and who they are. And now how can I get them into trouble? Because if they have a fear of, you know, if they have anxiety, then let's put them in somewhere that would be their own personal hell and leave them there for a while and see, them flail. And I like to do that, like kind of play with that life or death like circumstance. So the actor has so much to play with, right? You could be in a coffee shop. I don't care where you are, but if you give them a challenge that's sort of like inward, that, and then you start throwing things at that inward challenge, then you're like, we know what's happening to them. And you're like, how is this going to end? And so, I don't know. These are a lot of random thoughts that I don't know. This is why I don't do podcasts, Kat, because I just go on and on and
Very
on.
good,
But
very good.
anyway,
I have like random thoughts on like my podcast. I have a question here, but it goes with this movement. I have a question here. So I'm like looking over my notes, making sure we stay on track. But whatever. If we don't, we don't. That's okay.
okay, okay.
So
So yeah,
any
that's
advice? I mean, any advice you would give to anybody who is interested or want to maybe start somewhere with writing a script? Because
yeah.
for myself, I'm a writer and I'm developing a book about my life. So I just sat down, just typing my life away, blowing in and like at the middle of it all, my friends were like, why don't you just write a script or how make a movie? I'm like, man, I don't know when it's done. So I had a seed of an idea and I have a couple of characters or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, nah, what? So how I know we have to come up with a story
What
and how
happens,
to break
right?
it apart. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the you have this character and that character, and they are, someone's fighting for this and someone's fighting for that. Therefore, what you have I guess I would say this. You have an inciting incident, and then all of these things transpire from that inciting incident. We want to start there, right? We don't want to build to that. We want to start at the incident and then get to the therefore. And so, you begin your book or whatever with, you know, Tarantino does this really great thing where you like start the movie and it's like someone's running down a gravel road and a car's chasing them, and they're like nude with just their shoes on, and you're like, what is happening? And then like he falls off a cliff or something happens, and then he kind of goes backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts, with the incident like further down, and then we Tarantino it back to the beginning before we got there. Breaking Bad used to like doing that. But the Hallmark formula is the incident that thrusts this, the meet cute, how these two stumble upon each other, and then what happens and what do they learn along the way is almost, I don't want to say secondary, but you can see what, as you begin to, after the incident, as they start working these things out, you begin to realize what these characters learn. Sometimes you don't have that from the beginning, right? And sometimes that can get in your way as a writer where you get too theme heavy because you go, I want to write a story about somebody who learns that working so hard isn't as important, love is more important. And then you just kind of have a movie about somebody who's, clearly overworked and there's nowhere to go with that. So get rid of the theme first and go with like the what happened and then work your way through and then you'll find the theme, right? Let the theme happen to your character. Let the lessons happen to them, not don't go at the lesson. I guess that would be my word of advice.
Yeah. So I'm the kind of person who like to take on too much. And I realized I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to wait on this project and finish this project, but I have like ideas brewing. So I would put a note on my phone and like, okay, I have an idea for this part, or I have an idea how to make the story expand. What was the purpose? Me wanting to maybe eventually create a script, but who knows? But yeah, that's the practice, right? Of a writer or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in Starlight, if you think about it, we begin the movie with the information that something's going to happen to this restaurant, this cafe. And then we quickly learn that the development who's doing it is this big, construction development company who's taking over the whole building and all the units and going to develop it into condos or whatever. And then you go, well, then what? And you go, oh, the son of this guy who's sort of reckless and maybe one day will take over his thing, she ends up going to confront him and then ends up working for him, right? And that's how we get these two together. But you can only start with like this thing that happened and then build how
Mhm.
the rest of it happens as you go. You may not have that completely sorted, but it's a kind of a fun journey where you may not even know where you end up, and that's okay at the beginning.
Yeah,
You don't have to have the entirety done, is what I'm saying. Before you start.
yeah. Sometimes I over here, that I put it away for a little bit, and I get back to it when I'm ready or I feel comfortable. So yeah, both ways, both projects, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but writing for Hallmark, have you ever thought about writing a script or a possibility of a movie outside of Hallmark Network, like thrillers or other genres in movies?
Um, I have and am um doing that. Uh I I tend to stick with the genre that I know really well and the thing that I'm most passionate about. So it would be like a comedy musical is what they would set it in, like where there's an ensemble and there's a romance maybe, but a Little Miss Sunshine style movie or a Silver Linings Playbook where we can tell a feature film and include whatever locations that we want, to really tell the story, because we are in the constraints with Hallmark budgetarily. um and when you get to work with a bigger budget, these movies become much more. Yeah, it's a lot more to take on. Sometimes the handcuffs are nice because you can't do certain things. When all the options are available to you, then you really start to spin. On, like you were saying, we
Yeah,
could go over here, we could go over here, so. But yes, I am and I will. And I look forward to you seeing that movie when it comes out.
Definitely. Okay, going moving forward to two movies that happened last year, which is The Real Rat with Lucas Bryant. The Real Rat with Lucas Bryant. Ah, I do not know what to say about that movie. I felt like I'm like, okay, it's a meal, it's a Hallmark, getting a little spicy. But
I think it was me getting a little spicy.
I was watching it and I was like, oh my God. And my friend told me, are you watching it? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm watching it, but I don't know if I can keep going because I need to like turn down the thermostat or something. The chemistry between you and Lucas Bryant was just like amazing, and the story was also beautiful. I have to think of the mom trying to prepare her relationship with her daughter alone at the ranch, and then to meet this guy, and of course your sister like taking over on the this is my boyfriend, and they're like, I went like, what's
Right.
happening? What's happening? So tell me a little bit about your experience with that movie, The Real Rat.
Yeah. When I got sent that script, uh, I really liked it immediately because there was danger in it. And the danger was, I was afraid that people would not like me. You know, there's always you never really want, you don't want your character to be somebody that nobody likes. And when I read it, I was like, oh, this runs the risk of that. Very, like, if it's not done in a way that is very thought out and intentional, this could go poorly because she's my sister, and I do keep that romance hidden, and that is happening to me, and it's not great, you know. It's a little gross, uh, but this is life, right? Like it's messy. So how are we going to tell something messy and walk this fine line? And so I really like that challenge, even though I read it and I was like, ooh, this is going to be an extra challenge for me in how to deal with this. And I liked that challenge. And so I went straight for things that scare me. I really like. Um, and I just kind of like, I
It's a
walked
little
through her
different. It's a little different
intentionality
because most
very
almost
carefully.
don't go after. Like if they have a boyfriend, they don't do anything. Just like back off, and that fate happens. If they're meant to be together, they're meant to be together. So I could see where they're coming from. That movie or script with the character, like you don't want to, interfere. You want your sister to be happy. I was like watching the movie. I'm like, no, no, she good for him and she good for her. Come on, let's go. Just
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, we were playing with those fantasy scenes that, you know, that was a little more sizzle than I think Hallmark really knew what to deal with. And to be honest, I think they thought if it didn't work and it was too sizzle, they would cut it because you could easily get rid of those things. And so they let us do it because I was like, we will prevail. You know, we will make it that you can't look away, even though you should, and just let us do it. And it was like, okay, well, we'll let you film it. And then if, you know, it feels too much, and we just really rode the line very carefully. But I wouldn't let, I was like, this is sexy. You know, these scenes are like romantic and their fantasy. I wasn't gonna like not play into that. I wasn't gonna soft pedal because these things are in our minds, and I think when you have these things in your mind and you play out romances, they are very romantic. And like the reality is, this is in our fantasies. So gotta make it that, we're not like soft pedaling in our own fantasy life, growing for it. So, um, yeah, I guess that's where it just got the hat scene is another one that a lot of people
Oh
bring
my
up
God.
in terms
Not the
of
hacking.
so on the page there was no sizzle, right? And one of the things that I talked to the directors and producers immediately about when we sat down to talk about how we were going to go about this is that scene because it propels her to quickly it justifies the rest of the movie. And right now, I didn't feel like when I was reading it that like that there, we've got to make this more. This has to be shot in a way where she leaves and she can't get him out of her mind. Um, and everybody agreed. And so when we got in there, I was like, this has to be slow and steady and nobody rush this, right? Like, get the long shot, get the stillness, get the everything. And because from here on out, we get it, why he can't get out of her mind, right? Because it better be hot. It better be hot. So, um, initially I didn't feel like that was there, and we worked really hard to insert that so that everybody watching was going to go, well, now what? You know, the inciting incident, right? That's what I was talking about in
Yeah.
terms of writing. That is what happened. Therefore, all this other stuff starts to transpire. Um, it's as simple as that, a hat scene that turns into fire, and then, the rest unfolds. So,
Yeah,
I don't
please,
know.
I'm like, okay, what happened now? How could she leave? I mean, go back, do something, please, or something, and then we watch the rest of the movie. We're like, okay, we could see where it goes.
Yeah, and Lucas, just to talk about him for a second, um, he really played that like Robert Redford sort of old Hollywood classic cowboy thing really well. And
Definitely.
he was really good at saying little, but having so much there, which is what I think about when you think about like a pensive sort of cowboy, he just really took that. It was like he was always meant to be a cowboy, to be honest. Um, but he didn't know how to ride and learned how to ride very quickly.
Oh
And
my
I was just like, you were meant for this world, like you need to get on Yellowstone or something because you're a great cowboy. The hat even looks good on you?
Yeah, I agree with you what you said about Lucas Bryant because I've seen other movies he acted. There are a couple of favorites of mine. The Angel Tree with Lucas Bryant and Jill Wagner. One of my many favorites. I mean, I just like the story, the connection, and how he portrayed the character. And also another one with Nicky DeLoach. I think it was last year's movie, A World
Right.
Like Christmas. I was just like. And then when I saw him getting into more movies as a real rat, I was like, okay, that's something I could get behind with. I was just really happy. I mean, yeah, he's a very talented actor and portrayed different characters and different background of how to
Yeah.
portray characters, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So I was very lucky to have uh Lucas because I wouldn't have been anything without him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that movie, which is a little bit different at the normal, regular Hallmark formula. So like I said earlier on, really appreciate how Hallmark started to branch out with different formulas and different diversity of people. We've had people with autism come in, we've had people in a wheelchair come in, and possibility of different Holy Period characters coming in. So I really feel appreciative of how Hallmark is branching out and
Yeah.
letting anybody, okay,
Yeah.
anybody be part of movies.
I mean, that visibility and I mean, everybody has a story, right? You're writing a book about yours, and it's so important for us to see all these different kinds of stories because they're the human experience and they deserve to be told. And they're so, I mean, we are endless stories, with what we go through in life and the little interactions to the big ones and the lessons learned. I mean, I think it just speaks to humanity more and the authenticity of that, which I think is important for people to feel, and to not you see those kinds of things and you don't feel alone, right? And that I think is a beautiful thing.
What do you enjoy the most? Do you enjoy writing script or do you enjoy acting or a little bit of both?
Yeah. Um, Writing is hard, as you're finding out as well. It's challenging, and sometimes I like to just go and play as an actor and, do it feels like a world you can kind of get sucked into and just sort of like let go and play. And it's like it really satisfies that artistic expression in me. But then the writing just feels like this challenge that you work so much longer on these things, sometimes like up to, 2 years. And um, when you get it up on screen and people are impacted by the story, that's some other kind of satisfaction that just doesn't come from acting. Creating the world and these things and having, the response that even three wise men get is just like a satisfying thing that doesn't come with acting. And so I feel really lucky to be able to do both. It's not really normal at Hallmark, but I feel very lucky to be here and being able to tell stories in both those ways. And so yeah, I guess long and short, they're both very satisfying in completely different ways. And um, I I don't want to stop doing either.
Yeah, same. I mean, I don't want to stop writing or I don't want to stop teaching, even though both of them are challenging some days or have moments. I'm just like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just finding a different job. I'm like looking back, so everything different every day. Something good happened or something not good happened. Just keep going forward.
Yeah. Where do you live, Kat?
I live in Wisconsin.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I've been trying to hit Homer. Come on, do some famous Wisconsin. I know some very quaint vision on town that could be perfect for some movies. I want to be able to see the movies. I mean, I couldn't not go to Kansas City for the holiday touchdown because it didn't work out with my schedule. So I was like, hmm, there was one that was filmed in Milwaukee, but it was too late. It was the 90s Christmas. Yeah, the 90s. Oh, wow. That's okay. At least there's a movie in Milwaukee from Wisconsin. Sure.
Ah. Well, if you come to Vancouver, you'll be sure to hit a Hallmark movie filming because they're always filming here.
That's my
Almost
dream.
all of them.
That's my dream to come and visit a couple of my friends in Vancouver. So I just have to figure out when and to make it work and leave
Yeah.
everybody at home. Make myself a solo trip so I could just like live my Hallmark vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, Santa Claus. Wow, I'm not sure where to go with this movie. I mean, I had really liked the cast, and I really liked the director, the writer, and everybody in this movie. And as you know, it premiered during Christmas Con weekend. So I wanted to hear more of your input, working with a wonderful cast, especially Benjamin Harris, and of course Paul Campbell and Paul Campbell in Santa Claus. When I saw him on that screen, I'm like, oh no, this is not happening. This is not happening. And then the movie was amazing. I mean, it blew out of the water pretty much for the entire Christmas Con weekend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, when they were like, we're thinking Paul Campbell for this cameo. I was like, yes, and he has to be there all the time. Yeah, if he's gonna be one, like, you're gonna want him there because he is this group of Santas, the cast that they got were improv masters here throughout Canada, have lived their lives like doing stand up and improv. And I knew a lot of this was going to exist off the page, where people are just going to like invent stuff and
Oh yeah.
really great, and so I was like, you're going to want Paul there because he's the improv master. If there's one Hallmark actor in our world, he's it. He's got such a special gift in that way. And it was great. We convinced them to let him show up for more than one day, and I think he was there for I think like 9 days. So yeah, on his last filming day, he really felt like he was not a cameo, and we were happy about that. And so we decided not to make that a secret because he really was another one of the cast members. And having him and Ben and me, we were just, it was so fun the whole way through. It really felt like camp, actually, in the movie and in real life. We were actually at a camp. So, so fun. And Ben is a superb actor. He's so good and he's so funny. And he brought the, you know, the charm of somebody who's so into Santa himself, and like this little boy quality that couldn't get enough, but also the charming quality of
Yeah.
Ben. And so the whole thing was just magic from day one. And I had the hardest time because I played more of a straight person, more than the everybody else was the comic relief, and trying to get through takes of what everybody, they do one scripted and then they did many other versions of that however they wanted to, and it was just constant laughing and having a good time. It was like a real joy to film, and I think that's what it feels like when you watch it. These people are just having a really great time. So
Yeah, definitely we were watching. I'm not watching like every 5 minutes something happens. And she's like, please, you did not should do that. On the what Paul or whatever, or like with the picnic table on the different day competition just to be Santa, just like a massacre script well written and how they carried out. I was like, I don't know, like some movies they would do like a contest where they pair up something and it's like same thing, you do this, you do that, but they're like no fun cameo or no fun surprise coming of their own. But the whole movie was just fantastic. And as I mentioned to you and Paul over at Christmas card as well as my podcast with Lucy God, I was in love with the directing, with the angle, the perspective, and the lightning when you were a little girl following along with the family, going back, and it was the light was like so dim, it was like dark, but not too dark, with the Christmas tradition. So I'm like, I miss that kind of Christmas growing up in the 80s or
Right.
70s or 90s. So that's one of the best parts or things I noticed about the movie until like put into the mind and throw in a whole bunch of Santas and compete.
Yeah. I mean, Lucy Guest really knocked it out of the park, and her vision for it to seem somewhat magical all the time. Like we had smoke machines going that just gave kind of like a film to like it gave atmosphere that it felt like we were somewhere else. Um, and the way she shot it, she's just constantly moving the camera all the time and never stayed still. Um, yeah, she was really great. And sometimes she would do a really cool thing that like I loved as an actor, where instead of doing my side coverage and then turning around and doing Ben's side, she just went in a circle continuously. So we just kept in the scene the entire time, and she would get the coverage as she continuously moved. So there was this theatrical feeling to it that felt alive because there was no cut. You just went through it. And
Oh,
so, yeah, it was really fun to do, really fun to do that way.
yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. It was like probably my top 10 of the whole 45 Christmas movies of the whole countdown. But it was probably like one of my top 10. So that was really good.
Awesome. I'm so glad.
Um, What do you like most about Hallmark movies? What makes you feel like you enjoy giving yourself your career in Hallmark movies? What is special about Hallmark to do?
You,
The
I
band,
think, mhm, as a special kind of fan base that love these movies and have community together around these movies. And I think that's so special. And um, I I think we have a very special audience base who pursue uh, good in the world. And I I love that they bring people together and that you feel safe and happy and they bring joy. And so, yeah, when you start out as a little girl wanting to be an actor, you go, oh gosh, what like maybe I could be like Julia Roberts or one of these A-list movie stars. Um, but I have said so often that I appreciate so much the impact of what we're doing. And that gives me purpose, and a purpose that I don't know if some of these really big blockbuster movies bring in this kind of way. and hearing the impact that they have and the communities that they're building among friends and all of your groups, the Heinies and all of these different things, I think is just a really beautiful thing. I mean, the community is everything, and being with others like-minded is everything. And I mean, what more is there to life? And so to be a part of that in a very small way feels um, good.
Yeah, I agree because Hallmark, we call Hallmark our escape. We escape from the reality and then just pretend with the Hallmark movie, pretend, if I was in that, it was like a whole new life or a new perspective. And then once the movie's over, okay, I've had my chance to escape or destruct back to reality, whatever we do.
Yeah. I think we need that because the reality is a hard pill to swallow sometimes. And I think movies in their nature are designed as an escape. And when you have a safe, reliable one, it's even better to know that, that brand is not going to let you down in the evening where you really do need to escape. And so, yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's a necessary thing.
Yeah, like if I have a break from school, like summer or Thanksgiving or the holidays, whatever, I was just like, my husband the Hallmark again. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what about. So my kids are like Hallmark Taylor, but then but what Taylor Hunt movie you watched? What is there any other funny movie? I'm like, oh, I think you would like that movie. So he watched a couple of my daughters. Like, Christmas in July. I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. That's the
Yeah.
Hallmark thing. So I'm going to
Get,
enjoy Christmas in July.
get on board, sweetie.
Right. So what next for you? That what's coming up in 2025 that you could share as a writer or as an actor or possibility of upcoming band event, Christmas card, New Jersey 2025, or Hallmark Cruise, and now the Hallmark just announced Hallmark Christmas experience in Kansas City. I'm going to try fit there for one weekend because I'm a 6 hour drive, so I should not really
Oh,
have
yeah.
an excuse. So we'll see.
Yeah, the Christmas cruise and the Hallmark experience, I will be there. Um, and so that's exciting because both those things were really fun to be a part of. These experiences, I think, are a lot of fun because you can meet everyone and get together, and it's like a convention of like-minded people, and everyone's having a really great time. And so are we because of that. Um, you know, I do know what's coming for 2025 in terms of writing and acting, but I just cannot say because I think you'll know why when you hear the announcements. But I'm working very hard on those things right now. I'm January through for sure till June. I am deep, deep in a writing cave with Paul Campbell, making these things. Uh, but I will tell you in due time for sure.
Okay, looking forward to it. So there's any, like patterns coming from Hallmark or your social media or Paul. I'm gonna like, okay, I'm gonna put this together and I'm going to figure it out first before it even come out. Or so I'm excited. So I'm looking forward to whatever you have for us fans in
Yeah.
2025.
Yes, for 2025. It's going to be a great holiday season.
For sure. Last question. Everybody, it seems like everybody has their own wish or moment of wanting to quit. doesn't matter with the job, doesn't matter with the project, doesn't matter anything. What will it take for you or them to like to keep going and push themselves until it got made?
You mean what happened to make help me push through wanting to quit?
Yeah, like if there's like a moment someone wants to quit and they're, oh, this is not working or something. So what makes you be motivated? Okay, let's try this again. We're gonna keep going. We can make this work. So not a moment of give up too easy.
Yeah. I think you have that moment in every single movie.
Yeah.
There's a time where you go, oh, is this going to be good? Or, oh, is this going to be bad? And it's experience because, yeah, you never know how something's going to turn out when you start it. You hope you've done your work and you hope you've brought the ideas to the table that will help the story. Um, there was always a moment of panic. And how do I get through that? I don't know. Wine, maybe, or a whiskey. I'm not sure. You know, um, no choice. Once you're in the middle of it, you go like, whoa, you know, what am I going to do? I just have to walk forward. I just have to, to just continue walking forward. There's no option to run out the back door once you've started one of these things. So, but yeah, there are great fears that are overcome. Um, which is the beauty and the mess of making these things, you know.
And we're going, I normally wrap this up. I normally give the guest an opportunity to ask me anything they want or anything they're curious about before we close this podcast episode.
What has been your favorite episode on your podcast?
I'm trying to think.
This one.
Out
It's
of
fine.
all of
It's
these
okay.
guests, oh, I can't believe it. Oh, I'm sorry. Wink, wink, wink. Your episode. But really, I mean, I think every one of the episodes are my favorite because they give me a new perspective and a new feeling or a new connection with that person. I mean, everything I've done in my podcast journey, which my first podcast got was by Jim and Aries, because he was just launching Romance University, and I kind of that time I bought almost everything, every single time something released, I would buy. So it was kind of like he was helping me promote, and I was helping him promote to get out there. So that was one. And I would have to say maybe both Paul Campbell podcast episode along with yours. Because I like to get in the deep. I like to get in the dirt with the writers and talk about their perspective, their depth of writing, and how the process is carried out for the script and how the movie is made because it's
Yeah.
very fascinating,
Yeah.
very mind blowing because I myself is a writer, artist, and a teacher, so I am more like all of things I've always wanted to learn and understand the whole world of script writing. Maybe not so much about acting, but I'm practicing with all my ridiculous reels I've been posting, taking a scene from the movie, I'm gonna act it out. And teacher, of course.
Yeah. What made you want to start a podcast?
It went all the way back to my first band event, which was Drama in West Palm Beach. That where I kind of connected with everybody. I met
Mm,
a lot of good friends there, and like connecting with some actors and some celebrities. And I was thinking that maybe I want to do a podcast, but it's not always necessarily about Hallmark. It might start off at Hallmark, then I branched out to something else. Like
Hmm.
last year, I had a couple of episodes of Life of a Deaf-and-Hardy Pew teacher. I would talk about my struggles. I would talk about my challenges because I'm deaf and I'm working at a public school. I'm the only deaf staff in the public school, so I have my own interpreter. And what it's like as a special needs mom, because my son is a special needs and that costume. I would invite a couple of my deaf influencers, deaf authors, so I try to branch it out. And then
Yeah.
slowly I'm like interviewing writers, directors, authors, not just actors or actors or supporting roles. Just branch it out there on my podcast channel.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even let that fear stand in your way whatsoever. And so I think,
At first, I was like, I didn't know if I could do it. My friends were like, do it your time, do it schedule. If it had to be one podcast a year or
mhm,
two a month, fine. It might take you forever to grow followers or viewers, but at your time. I'm like, okay, I got fun. And that's where I am right now, heading to second year anniversary next month.
wow,
Yeah.
I am so impressed. And what an inspiration to hear that. And you asked me a fear of, how do you persevered through is nothing compared to what you've had to persevere through. And I think you're remarkable. So thank you for having me on your podcast. It was an honor.
Yeah, thank you for coming on because after all you did, I have to get this person on because I really want to like pick her brain about something or like I have to get him on because that movie I need to talk about this movie or whatever. So I really appreciate connecting with you. I put my card at first. I'm like, okay, but line. I'm gonna go for it because all the other lines are so like I'm like I have time. I'm gonna go pop in and say, talk to more Kimberley more about Santa Claus and give her a sticker and just connect.
Mm, yeah. Well, I love that. And I love that about you. And all the I keep saying I need to like get on Facebook and like figure that all out, but I know you all have such a vibrant community, and I'm missing out. But I think it's really amazing and, like I said, inspiring. And so, thank you for all that you do um, in cultivating these groups and podcasts and your interest. I think it is so important, and we really, really appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. Well, I'm going to wrap it up, and I hope I will see you this year at whatever event I'm able to get to. In this year, maybe Christmas time or Kansas City. I'll figure something out.
Yeah. Jill, thank you so much for interpreting and I don't know how you keep up with that. I am, I am blown away by your talent. So
Thank you.
thank
I
you very much.
really enjoy what I do and I'm happy to do it for Kat. Like it's
That,
important to give back to our deaf community and I've always believed that. So happy to do it.
yeah, thank you so much. This was a special one, so thank you.
Well, thank you again for coming on the Cat Chat podcast, Kimberly, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. And good luck with spring break.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.
You
Bye-bye.
too.